appreciate those nights and those dreams. But my friend, I'd sacrifice all those nights if I could make the earth and my dreams the same. The only difference is to let love replace all I hate. So let's go there, let's make our escape. Come on, let's go there. Let's ask, can we stay? Can you take me higher to a place where lineman see? Can you take me higher to a place where golden streams? So let's go there, yeah, let's go there. Come on, let's go there. Let's ask, can we stay?
And Nasty. Host Randy Chevrier and Sheldon Napashka guides you through great stories that spark great conversations. Two really big guys talking a big game. The boys are locked in and ready to go. Welcome to the ride.
Yeah, welcome to the ride, everybody. You made it. You made it back for another Tuesday night. We're here with Chevy and I, and big episode this week. It's episode 88. I'm not sure I would have guessed when we started that we'd make it all the way here, but here we are, folks, and you guys have been a big part of it. And yeah,
we got a few guys along for the ride. Yeah, we got Bruno. Bruno's in Florida today, and he's I believe he's in Tampa. He watched the Yankees play the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, and 9-home run game for the Yankees.
Did you see the video that he sent out, was passing around earlier today? Like he's sitting there right off the bench along the first base line. It looked like he's got some amazing seats. He can watch that ball spin as it's coming in.
And he said that there was a lot of seats available. So I mean, next time we haven't gotten the invite to go stay with Bruno, sit by the pool in our Speedos, and watch baseball games. I didn't get the invite. Did you?
No, I didn't get the invite. I don't know if we're going to get the invite from Bruno. I think he's that friend that he keeps posting all these like awesome things that he does, but it doesn't come with a whole lot of invites. But it's more like likes to rub it in, share the story a little bit, and just remind us what's in the future for us in the next 10 years if we play our cards right, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. But Bruno is a great friend of the show, and he does sponsor our show through YYC Business. And also Daryl is joining us tonight, and he sponsors our show through Performance Freight Management. And you're joining us, Sheldon, and you sponsor through We Drone Real Estate Media. And I see Rubio, the great Chris Rubio, the poutine loving American long snap producing cowboy from where is it, Lewiston, Idaho. He's joined us, and guess what? He just subscribed to our channel. 88 episodes in, he's finally subscribed to the Chevy and to the Ride with Chevy and Nasty. So welcome, Chris. It took you 88 episodes to hit like and subscribe. But for those of you that do follow us each week, if you haven't had a chance, go to our socials. Go to @ChevyandNasty on YouTube, Facebook. Where else we got it, Trey? Put up the little graphic. I know we're going to put Trey on the spot tonight. So go follow us. We're on all these socials. Like and subscribe. Get the word out to your friends. Share some of our content. We do our best to put some stuff out because we love doing the show. And 88 episodes in, we're still here. You're still here. And we started this thing probably about 40 episodes in. I think Daryl every week kept asking us. I never knew what he was asking me until I realized he was asking me, who is a great player that you played with associated with the show number? And I think it was only at about episode 40 or 43 that we started doing it. So when we hit 100, we can actually start with the ones and the twos and the threes and the fours. It's just 100. But today, Rubio says he was already subscribed to the Rubio Method channel, but didn't realize Rubio long snapping was. That's the thing. Rubio has so many identities. He also might go by the name of Jason Statham. because he looks a little bit like Jason Statham. Maybe he's Jason Statham. You know what? If Jason Statham subscribes to the ride, we'll know it's Rubio. Ernie Regas out in Saskatchewan. Thanks for joining us. He lost his Wi-Fi, but somehow he's back. So
Ernie, that happened to me today. We woke up this morning and it was on, and then it wasn't, and then it wasn't on for like the next 8 hours.
Gotta get that Elon Musk stuff. That Starlink.
I couldn't work from home today. My neighbor had to go into the office, and she hates going into the office. So yeah, Ernie, I feel you for sure.
Well, episode 88, the great episode 88. And tonight we like I said, we started this at episode 40s. We're 88 episodes in. Some of the great athletes associated with 88. Let's see who Trey's cooked up for us tonight. There's one top of mind for me. There's a couple there, and none of them are the one that I thought of. I mean, Trey, we don't do a lot of show notes, but I put one name up for you, Trey. One name. The great 88 of them all. There he is, Eric Lindros. That's the first one that should be there. Maybe a Michael Irvin, but everyone else is secondary. I don't care if you got Brent Burns, you got Patrick Kane, you had Marvin Harrison. In hockey, the 88 that I think of is Eric Lindros. In football, at least when it comes to NFL, it's Michael Irvin. Sheldon, do you got anyone else you're thinking of, or are those the guys on your list?
You know what? Those guys are kind of hard to beat. I'm going to go back to the playing days with the Calgary Stampeders, and wasn't Andre Arlane? I don't know. Were you there when Andre Arlane was with the Stamps?
Yeah. So Andre Arlane,
good Canadian receiver.
Andre Arlane was an 88. So he was a long-time 88. I believe that one of the greatest 88. Well, Marcus Howell.
Marcus. Yeah.
Coaches. Is he coaching with Ottawa or Edmonton? I know he was a teammate of mine for a while. He great dual threat player. When he was with Winnipeg, especially, he was playing a little bit of DB, a little bit of receiver, and returner. When he came to Calgary, he was primarily returner and a receiver. But yeah, he's one of those guys that could do it all, and it's translated nicely into coaching. I know he's bounced around as a coach, but when you get in that coaching carousel in the CFL, you could be employed for a long time if you're good. You're dedicated and you work hard, and that's him. But the 88 that I think of when I think of the Stamps is none other than Vince Danielson. And Vince was one of the great Canadian receivers for the Stampeders, won 2 Grey Cups. I believe he caught one of the more memorable, and again, this was before my time, before I was really paying attention to the Stampeders, but one of the more memorable touchdown catches from Flutie in a Grey Cup, and a local legend, at least. He's not from Calgary, but he's made Calgary his home. He runs a very successful medical business here and a great guy. He actually survived childhood leukemia. And when he became a Calgary Stampeder, he was one of the guys that started the Every Yards Count program, at least a portion that brought patients from the hospital that were able to go out to the game. So you remember, Sheldon, when we used to play the games, after every game, there would be 4 or 5 kids that would come along the locker room and sign autographs. Well, that was Vince Danielson who started that. And I dovetailed that and started the Evyard Counts program that got players to the hospital on the day before the game. So Vince and I, we actually got to know each other, and he's a fantastic guy. But I want to rewind. I want, like, we paid good homage to some former teammates, but I want to go back. Last week we did a head-to-head between Sidney Crosby, and we compared, because it was our 87th episode, we compared him to Gretzky, we compared him to Connor McDavid. Then we did the Kelsey Gronk comparison. This one's going to be an odd one. Michael Irvin, who arguably be one of the greatest receivers in the NFL, and Eric Lindros, arguably one of the greatest 88s in the NHL, and probably changed the game. Who was a better generational athlete? Who would you pick if you had to pick an athlete to make your all-time team of whatever?
Here's the problem with that was when Lindros was in the league was when I was down in Iowa. And so I didn't follow him as closely. What I knew from him is he signed to the Nordiques, or wouldn't drafted, wouldn't sign. And then all I remember is concussion troubles. I never got a chance to watch the guy play. So for me, it's got to be Michael Irvin, because he played a long time. He won Super Bowls and he did it all. But I was going to ask you, what is your thing with Lindros? Like, what was it about him that was so special?
Well, first of all, I was a Quebecer growing up, right? I grew up in Montreal, and the Quebec Nordiques were like a bitter rival, but they were a rival you kind of loved. When they left Quebec, it kind of left a hole in Quebec. And so even though you wanted to see the Nordiques lose, it was kind of a slap in the face when Lindros got drafted. But, at least publicly, it looked like he didn't want to play in Quebec. And whether you're an English Montrealer or a French Montrealer that fight all day long, like English and French fight all day long in Quebec. That's literally what they were. You're born to fight the French and the English, but you are very protective of your province, and you are very protective of your city if you're Montreal or a Quebecer. And so when Lindros decided not to play for the Quebec Nordiques, it kind of was taken on as this is a slap in the face to the whole province of Quebec, whether you were a Canadiens fan, whether you were a Nordiques fan, and we took it personally. And people hated him for that. Like, absolutely hated him, to the point that it was hard to respect him when he did develop into one of the most dominant game-changing forwards ever. But, for me, as I grew up and grew older, I grew to respect his game and his decision. At the time, he just, there were some things that weren't right with the Quebec Nordiques. And, we see it in football now. Guys, saying, well, I don't want to play for that team. I want to play for this team. It happens in pro sports. That was kind of unprecedented. But Quebec did well. I mean, they got 1 million draft picks. For Lindros, I believe they got Sakic. I believe they got Forsberg. I believe they got Sundin. They got like a whole whack of draft picks that basically built the cups that not Quebec benefited from, but Colorado soon after. You talk about Joe Sakic. Like, I mean, the list is endless of the prospects they got in exchange for Lindros. So Quebec won out, I guess, somehow. They still claim the Avalanche as their own, but
the slap was even bigger to Quebec, man.
Yeah,
I mean, they lost the team.
But for me, Lindros is probably the greatest what if in all sports. I mean, Bo Jackson but I would say Bo Jackson and Eric Lindros are the greatest what if they were healthy. Like, yeah, you're right. Michael Irvin has the championships. Michael Irvin has the longevity, has the pedigree. But Lindros changed the game. He was 240 pounds at 6'4", could skate like Lemieux, and had hands like Gretzky. Like that conversation we had last week with Sidney Crosby, if Lindros had been healthy, he would have been the bridge between the Gretzky era and the Crosby era. But he got hurt, and no one took his place until Crosby came up. And we kind of mentioned that. So for me, it's a shame because we saw what he did when he played at some of the Canada Cups and some of the Olympics. He was phenomenal to watch. But he ran into a brick wall called Scott Stevens in the playoffs, and that ended him. But for a while there, that Crazy Eights lineup of Eric Lindros, Mark Recchi, and Michael Renberg in Philadelphia, they were untouchable. One of the greatest offensively potent lines in hockey. And I hate the Flyers. Guys, listen, when I say I hate the Flyers, there are two jerseys I will never wear and two teams I will never cheer for: the Boston Bruins and the Philadelphia Flyers. But that lineup of Lindros, Recchi, and Renberg was one of the most feared and most talented forward lineups I'd ever seen. So for me, that's what it is with Lindros. He played on a team I hated, but man, did he have something that no one else has ever shown before him. But yeah, Scott Stevens sure ended that early, and he was never able to recover. I think he does a lot of awareness now for concussion. I've seen him in the news lately. I think for a while he was out, but yeah, game changer, but probably the biggest what if that I ever see.
And with that, Trey, why don't we cue the poach? I don't think I have anything to add to that, Chev.
Well, okay, sorry, it was a rant. Hey, this is what the show's about. It's rant. So, you know what? What's not the biggest what if? No one asks, what if the guys don't have a poem this week? We always have a poem. Even if it's a crappy poem, we have a poem. So, Trey, play the splitter so we can get on with the show.
And now, 300-pound poetry with Chevy and Nasty.
Tuesday, a show hosted by these two big guys. If we order a fast food combo, it's always super size.
The flight attendants got a deal, and they're back up in the air. They defied a government order and showed that they really had a pair.
Yeah. In this latest episode, we got into another debate of who was the best to wear a jersey adorned with 88.
Taylor Swift made an appearance in her boyfriend's podcast. Maybe the ride is next. Maybe she's saving the best for last.
Wouldn't that be something?
That would be something.
We thought we'd have a guest, but sometimes emergencies arise. I think we're pretty good at pivoting, despite our surprise.
Because we are a Chevy nasty, you listen and watch for good times, but still haven't won any praise for these masterful rhymes.
Are they masterful? I don't know. Like I don't know.
You know, Chev, I think you do a nice job with them week in and week out. You know, like some are better than others. This was a good one. You covered just about everything that's going on in the world this week.
After watching that Taylor Swift, and we'll talk about it later, that Taylor Swift podcast or appearance on the New Heights podcast with Jason and Travis Kelce, you know, I'm inspired to write.
I didn't see it.
We'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it in the studs or duds. But you know, we did mention in the poem, Sheldon, that we were supposed to have a guest. So we were supposed to have Dan Giancola, former CFL kicker with the Toronto Argonauts. Unfortunately, right around I believe it was 9:30. I was still in the practice field. We got a message that he had a family medical emergency at the hospital. He's looking for someone to actually cover for him so that he could make the podcast, but no one was answering his phone. So we told him, hey, listen, man, take care of your family. That's most important. We let him go. This has happened before, but this, you know, it's a live podcast and things happen live. And sometimes no good things happen after 10 o'clock at night. So we got to just roll with it because you know what? We are pretty good at pivoting as mentioned. But I want to ask you, Sheldon, has there ever been something that's like, I don't know, you kind of have a handle on things and then all of a sudden something happens and it throws a wrench in your plans and you got to go quickly from that I am so pissed off feeling, and I'm not pissed off in this case because I understand, but you plan on something, you know, this is how it's supposed to be, and then it happens and all of a sudden you got to pivot and you got to go quickly from being pissed or being shocked or being dismayed or disappointed to, okay, this is the new reality. Have you ever had anything like that?
Yeah, in fact, it just happened to me. I was preparing my rant for the first segment, but I guess we changed our order due to the change of schedule. But it reminds me of, because I had something that happened to me today that I'll talk about in a later segment. But you know what? A perfect example of that. This was back when our two boys were young. I think my youngest Kai was like 3 years old.
Okay.
And we woke up Christmas morning. Amanda wasn't working at the time. I, of course, wasn't working on Christmas Day. You know, we're getting ready to have breakfast and open presents. The night before, Kai was like sitting there gulping a lot, just kind of gulping. Kai, you okay? He's like, yeah, I'm good. We woke up that morning and he continues doing that weird little swallowing thing. And you don't need parents. You don't know what the heck's going on. It's probably fine. Maybe a stage. Next thing you know, he comes out of the bathroom crying. He puked up blood.
Oh no.
On Christmas morning, our 3-year-old is puking up blood in the toilet. You want to talk about a change of plans in a hurry because you're going to go see family that day. You're going to eat meals. You're going to do the whole circuit. And we're sitting there looking at each other. What the hell do you do when your kid's puking? What makes a kid puke blood? And on Christmas Day. So it was honestly, it was terrifying. And you had to do that. You know, your first time one of your kids have a major injury and you got to like sober up real fast and become a grown up and a parent and because it's all fun and games up until then, right? And we took him down to the hospital. My wife took him down to the hospital. I stayed with my oldest son at home. Turns out, Chef, it was strep throat. Ooh. And it was so bad that it was like so, you know, it just started bleeding. It was so raw. And that's how we spent that Christmas. They were there for about 6 hours.
That's not a fun Christmas.
It wasn't a fun Christmas, but you know what? Our children's hospital here is amazing. So he got like plenty of popsicles. He got the medication that he needed, and he even came home with a Christmas present that they provided to him that day. So I'll tell you, it wasn't the Christmas that we're planning for. And it sure did change in a hurry. But yeah, you know, sometimes you got to adjust on the fly, right? Call an audible. We had to call an audible tonight.
Yeah, I have to call an audible once in a while. I had Thanksgiving turkey in the oven one year, and you know, it was just me and the boys, and you know, have a nice bird cooking up. And I don't do the big meals because it's just me and the 3 boys, right? But that year, I did it up, and then we did the let's go play football in the park, and let's just do the whole Thanksgiving thing. I had the time, we did it, we were having fun, and then next thing you know, we're kind of rolling around like a kind of a somewhat of a tackle. Next thing you know, Kyle gets out of the pile, and his thumb's bent backwards and sideways. It's like, oh, well, that's going to need some work. So it's like, well, what do? Do we wait for the bird, or do we go to the hospital? So yeah, we went Children's Hospital right away. They set it, they put it into cast, the whole deal. So we broke our kid's thumb on Thanksgiving. Came back, the bird was still good. It was definitely a story, but it was one of those things. Yeah, you don't plan for it, but you also got a little surprise today in the mail too, right? Like this is.
We'll save that for later segment. We're running out of time here, but I got one more story. So another like those shocking injuries. We were downstairs with this. It was just Adric at that time, my oldest, and he's bouncing on the couches, and we're all just playing down in our basement on my favorite couch. And all of a sudden, he jumps and his foot goes through the side cushion and the side, like the armrest of the couch, and he starts pulling his foot out, and he's like, he's shocked, and we're like, oh, "What's wrong?" He goes, "I'm stuck." Well, what do you mean you're stuck? I'm stuck. Well, so we get in there and we try to start pulling it out, and he's like starts yelling like, "Ow, it hurts!" I'm like, "There's something going on here. Is it like trapped in the ankle bone?" So we start pulling it apart. It wasn't stuck because it was tight. It was stuck because a spring had come out and gone through his heel.
Oh, God!
Jumping on a couch, and we had to, the whole thing comes in your head. Never remove an embedded object. Well, I'm not going to leave him here. So we had to get that spring back out of his heel, and take Adric for his first tetanus shot.
Gosh,
I remember looking. It was gross, and you feel so bad for them. Those poor little innocent kids just bouncing on a couch, and next thing you know, they're impaled.
Well, you know what? Absolutely, you feel bad, especially for kids. You talk about kids stuff, you feel bad. But what about when it's athletes? When we come back from this segment, we're going to take this unexpected injury, unexpected plans. We're going to take it further. We're going to take it to the world of sports and talk about, Sheldon, did you ever have an unexpected injury or something that's like, oh, shoot, I didn't plan.
Have you ever
had
did you ever have an expected injury, Sheldon?
I guess not. But yeah, like there's been some recent headlines in the news, not big news, but where athletes have gotten injured in weird ways, and it kind of complement some other stories that we've seen, and maybe a couple of stories we have. So we're going to take a quick break, guys. Like I said, you could catch us on all socials at Chevy and Nasty. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll talk more crazy injuries, and we'll keep this ride going.
Performance Freight Management is a global logistic freight shipping company that will handle the entire shipping process for any package to any country. Whether it be a simple truck shipment from your office to Toronto or your company importing generators from China, PFM Freight handles it all. We have the expertise and technology to handle any shipping requirements. Skip the guesswork and let us take the shipping pain off your plate.
Do you want your business to be known? YYCCalgaryBusiness.ca is Calgary's only online media platform that gets you noticed. Short-form video content is rapidly taking over as the most effective way to engage your audience. Whether you're being interviewed on a vodcast, sharing a sizzle reel, or even hosting your own show, there is one place you can publicize your business. We want to tell your story and introduce you to our network of empowered business owners and leaders right here in Calgary. Isn't it time you took your digital game to 11? Call us or email us now.
Welcome back to the ride. Sheldon has disappeared from his chair. He'll shortly appear. Guys, we're brought to you every week by Performance Freight Management, We Drone Real Estate Media, and YYC Business. Guys, thanks for joining. Just looking through the list of guys showing up. Kurt Panyo, nice to see you. Chad Smith. Rob Evans. I actually had an opportunity to work with Rob Evans last week. It was the Alberta firefighters burn camp. So the Edmonton firefighters burn treatment society and the Calgary firefighters burn treatment society, they get together and they put on a camp at the Easter Seals camp out in not Kananaskis, in Bragg Creek. Right. And basically it's a free camp for young burn survivors up until I believe it's aged 18. Yeah, there it is. Me and Rob. There's Rob Evans there. He's also slimmed down. He looks fantastic, by the way. Yeah. Good looking man right there. So Redwood Meadows Fire Department supplies the water tenders, which you see in the back there with that yellow tank. It's filled with water. And at this burn camp, kids get an opportunity to have a camp experience. It's all free. It's with other burn survivors. They get to just be kids, get to be free. And it's one of these situations where, you know what, they're like everyone else. And oftentimes for these kids, when they go somewhere, a scar from a burn can be very noticeable and can be very life altering for many of these people. So this is a place where they just get kindness, compassion, and they just get to be kids. And on the Wednesday,
and reminded that there's a lot of kids in the same situation.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
Be around people that have gone through the same things that you have. I mean, back in the day when divorce was a rare thing, you know, like just being around other kids that have gone through a similar family dynamic. You're going through the same trauma. So that's awesome. Yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah. And so on the Wednesday, we do a water fight. So volunteers from Calgary Fire come down. Volunteers from Edmonton drive down. Like I said,
is that from the hose? Like a water fight with a fire hose?
So not just a fire hose. So we got hoses spraying. We got, as you saw in the picture in the background of the big yellow tank, that's filled with water. So they got a water tender, and a water tender is basically a truck that basically supplies water on a fire scene in absence of a fire hydrant. So in Redwood Meadows and in some of the more rural areas, you'll have a lot of water tenders because they don't have a hydrant system. Now, oftentimes, if we have fires in Calgary where we need more water supply because it's, you know, maybe it's in a dumpster or somewhere where, or like a landfill where there's no fire hydrants, we'll call on mutual aid from Redwood Meadows and Rocky View to come and help us. But so Redwood Meadows, where Rob Evans is the chief, they supply the water tenders. We fill those tanks with water. We give all the kids water guns, huge slip and slide. The fire hoses are going off, and it's just such an amazing time. Some of the firefighters and volunteers bring their own children, and you could tell they're a little bit timid at the beginning. They don't know, you know, like they're kind of like, why is mom and dad bringing me here? Like, what is this? And then after a while, just everybody is having a blast. Like the firefighters, the volunteers, the nurses, you know, everyone there is just free and having fun. And it goes from this crazy water fight to this unbelievable mud fight at the end. And that's usually when I step out. Usually I kind of step around the fire truck and I'm done with the mud. But yeah, it's about 2 or 3 hours of craziness, and we do it every year. And Rob is such a great sport because, you know, obviously they supply the water tender. He does a lot of the photography, the drone photography, and great to run into one of our regular listeners. And that's one thing I love about this show. A lot of people that are in here tonight, we've met in person. From Kurt Panyo, who came down to our live event at the Grey Cup, to Dine and Dash dad Chad Smith, and obviously Daryl and the rest of the gang. You know, we got a good community of guys, and you know, sometimes we talk the heavy stuff, but sometimes just getting together on a Tuesday night, bullshitting, having fun is like the mental health break that a lot of our buddies need. And so, you know, we talked before the break about things not going according to plan. And we talked that, you know, we were supposed to have a guest tonight. We're pivoting, we're shifting. And, you know, we talked about injuries to kids. But Sheldon, what's the craziest injury you've seen in sport? Like when you think about, wow, how did that guy get hurt doing that? What's like the craziest injury?
How did that happen? Well, the one, and this is related to sport, but wasn't in sport. It was my junior year at Iowa State. Maybe I was still a sophomore. We were in Colorado playing the Buffalo, and it was the last regular season game of the year, and it was seniors night. or like seniors game, right? The last time the seniors would ever be together. And, usually they get together and instead of like the strict schedule, they end up getting some beers out in the hotel room and having some laughs, telling some stories. And they were doing it that night. And this guy on our team, number 22, Michael Sparks. Sparks. And I think I told this back on Chevy and Nasty back on the radio back in the day. But they're having fun up in a hotel room. And he drops his pants at one time and to leave like an ass print on the window. Breaks the freaking window. Gets glass in the cut. Had to get stitches. He couldn't play the next day from sticking his ass through a window in a hotel in Colorado the night before we played the Buffalo. I mean, you never know that. When I say you don't plan an injury, you never know how it's going to happen. We saw last year in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Who was that who was just walking onto the field and tore his Achilles?
Oh, that was 2 years ago. That was 2 years ago with the 49ers linebacker.
Yes.
Name escapes me, but you got up here. You got two pictures, right? One is Jason Pierre-Paul with the Giants defensive tackle. I believe he was playing with fireworks and he blew his hand off. So he had to play the season because he was messing around with fireworks on the 4th of July, and some fireworks exploded in his right hand. And like we just talked about burn injuries. When you get a burn injury, like it requires oftentimes major reconstruction, major skin grafts. And he literally blew all the skin off his hand. In fact, his index finger was amputated because of this. Like this was a very severe injury. And yeah, when you say you don't plan for injury, I mean, like, yeah, you don't plan for any type of sports injury. But some injuries are just crazy. If you look on the left there, that's Bill Gramatica. And Bill Gramatica was a teammate of mine at the East-West Shrine Bowl. His brother was Martin Gramatica, a kicker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers forever. But Bill was his up-and-coming brother. I believe he came out of Cal. Great guy, played with him, got to know him quite a bit. He had the most bizarre injury and very famous at the time where he celebrated a very I guess not easy, but it was a 42-yard field goal, jumped in the air to celebrate. When he landed, crumpled to the ground, and he missed 3 games of the season, and he came back the following year. But when you're talking about kickers, Jason Hansen, he was, I believe he was the punter for Jacksonville Jaguars just after I played there. And I believe the head coach at the time was Jack Del Rio. And they put this big wood stump in the locker room, and they put an axe in it. And I guess the mantra for the just keep chopping wood. Just keep chopping wood. So I guess Chris Hansen, he picks up the axe one day. He's the punter. And he kept chopping wood, and he chopped his foot. Okay, he gashed like he missed 11 games of the season. He missed 11 games of the season. In fact, Chris Hansen was there. He was the guy when I got released. He was a punter they brought in the last few days of camp. So I did know Chris. He replaced the guy they drafted. But yeah, he played 6 more years. But there's some crazy injuries out there. And what brought this up was, I guess a few weeks ago, there was a NASCAR driver. Again, I'm not. He celebrated a win. Young guy jumping out of his car. He fell out and broke his collarbone. Like there's some weird, like if you look this up,
while we keep talking about, I think Trey's might have that video somewhere in the collection.
I
had
it up.
That video. That was almost horrific. I mean, if he walked away, guys, he was his first win, getting out of the car. He was so excited. He starts doing the celebration. Yeah, catches a toe. Oh, that was awkward.
How about this one? How about this one? Injury due to arachnophobia. So Glenn Allen Hill from the Toronto Argonauts is so terrified of spiders. He has a debilitating. He was trying to run away from a spiders in his nightmare when he started unconsciously running through his house. So he was sleep running away from spiders in the nightmare, and he crashed through a glass table and wound up with cuts and bruises. He spent the first 20 days of the season on the disabled list. From a nightmare about spiders.
Okay, guys,
here's the NASCAR.
Good job, Trey.
Yeah, thanks, Trey.
All excited.
Yeah, hey, Ricky Bobby, if you ain't first, you're last. Yeah. Here he goes. He's standing up. Yeah, I win. Oh, shit.
Oh, man. Oh, you know that look. That is instant pain.
Oh yeah.
Instant pain. Just get the cameras off of me, guys. Yeah, cut away, cut away.
Yeah, and then there's that. Can we watch that again? It's just his elation, his celebration. He's so happy, and he's in the checkered, on the checkered flag, and he wants to show everyone how awesome he is. And it's like, I'm the best. Oh, so hard, and he smoked his head too. Hey,
it's hard too. Like even now watching football, like the things that we used to do when I watch these young guys and these midair collisions. Oh God. You wonder why people do that, and how do you recover from something like that? I couldn't imagine that.
That's an embarrassing one. But then you have like Plexico Burress, great receiver, I believe he was with the Steelers and then the Giants. He shot himself. The gun went off. You remember that? The gun went off in his hand, and I think he even wound up having to go to jail because of that. Like, he tried to walk it off, and he missed. He appeared in 20 more games after that. He had to serve jail time for possession of a weapon. So I guess that's the New York Giants had a couple of bad ones. So there's a ton of those. You can look them up. But Sheldon, do you ever have a weird injury or like even on the field?
I had a weird one on the practice field. Back at Iowa State, we were just doing sled drills. The sled that you tackle, drive up, run 5 steps, throw it to the ground, and roll off. Well, I don't know if I was just uncoordinated that day or what happened, but I go rolling off, and somehow my leg's dragging along it. My calf hooks a screw. Oh, that tears a flap open in my leg. Like it looks like when I got it, it didn't hurt, but I looked down and there's a triangular, almost like a reverse mountain peak flap hanging there open. My coach is like puking, calling for the trainer. It was just the most freak thing I'd ever had. I had to Coach Bowler was it, and he even said, he goes, that was the sickest thing he'd ever seen in his life. I had to get stitches. I didn't miss a game though. I was able to play. He just had to keep that thing kind of wrapped up, but just weird stuff like that. Once I was making a tackle on the field, and I had my hand on the guy front of the guy's helmet. And as I'm driving down to the ground, Scott Coe comes along, smashes my finger with his helmet. My finger just drooped like at a 90-degree angle, and I couldn't lift it. I couldn't control it. It snapped the tendon. Oh. And I went off to the bench, and I'm just sitting there because at that time it was on my left hand. I'm a guitar player. I played a lot of guitar. Yeah. And I was like, this stupid game, I will never play a guitar again. I'm just sitting there staring at my bent finger. And Patty comes up to me, Pat Clayton, the infamous Pat Clayton. Says, don't worry, it grows back. He tied a popsicle stick to it. We had it in like a brace for 2 weeks, and sure enough, it was good as new. But that was the scaredest I ever was, that I did lifelong damage to my body. Yeah. Well, what about you?
Well, I tell you, Sheldon, if I list all the weird injuries I've had growing up, like we'd be here for 2 hours. So I'm not going to do that because I've had some crazy ones. Like, you talk about the stab wound. I talk about like so many weird ones. But if we keep it sports related and keep it weird, I'm not going to talk about the injuries I had because I never missed a game with an injury. That was one thing. I played over 200 games. I never missed a game with an injury. But my weirdest injury was this. So we've always heard about the guys that they get injured the day before the championship game, the Steve Charbonneau breaking his ankle before the Grey Cup for the Alouettes, Fabio Felice for the Calgary Stampeders that put me into the O-line. Well, in 2014, I think either I was fortunate or not fortunate. That was the year that I didn't play. So that was the year that I won the Tom Pate Award, but I didn't play. It was my second last year with the Stamps. I was on the bench. But you know me. I'm the practice squad guy or whatever, the injured reserve guy. I'm giving the scout team looks. I am all in all the time for everything. Even if I'm not playing, I'm practicing like I'm 20 years old. And here I am. I'm 38 years old. And the other thing I love to do is to punt. So I would punt the ball all the time. Even though I was a long snapper, I loved to punt because I sucked at it, but I wanted to be good at it. And I think I messed up my knee a little bit punting because it's a really violent action if you're not in control.
Yeah.
And the day 3, so the last, I guess, hitting practice before the Grey Cup, and even that's not a hitting practice because the Grey Cup, you're going real easy. You don't want anyone to get hurt. I'm scout teaming. I'm sprinting down on freaking kickoff. I'm doing everything I can just to enjoy my last bit of the Grey Cup week. And at the end, I'm walking off the field, Sheldon, and I was always a bouncy kid, like did all kinds of gymnastics and stuff. I do a front handspring, and I land like hard and like bent, like I basically landed in a squat.
Yeah.
And I felt, I was like, oh crap.
I
tore my meniscus.
Oh my God.
I tore my meniscus. So this is 2014. I'm sitting on the bench. I'm 38 years old, and I tear my meniscus requiring surgery. So I
didn't know yet. I didn't know that story.
I tore my meniscus 2 days before the Grey Cup. I wasn't going to play in the game anyways, but I'm like, oh shit, I might have just ended my career. I might have just ended my career because of a damn handspring. And that offseason,
but who does handsprings?
I know.
I don't know too
like
many defensive line that once you hit 260, 270 pounds, something's just become a bad idea. Backflip anyone?
Like not a back handspring. Did I say back? A front handspring.
No.
So
it's still the same thing. I mean,
but anyhow, I landed wrong.
Maybe.
I think it was started because of all the punting I was doing, and my knee was a little bit weak. And when I landed, it just popped. And here I am thinking, I just ended my career. I didn't want it to end at 38, but lo and behold, I had the surgery in the offseason. I had it February. I came back. I won my job in 2015. Didn't feel it. Every once in a while, I feel it. But man, that was a stupid thing to do. That was a stupid thing to do. Like when I asked you about planning for an injury, we don't plan for the ones that, like, you don't plan for Scott Coe.
No, but sometimes you ask for them though, right? Sometimes,
but
you were asking for that one.
Oh, I was asking to be injured. So yeah, that was my dumb injury. Of all the dumb injuries, that was the dumbest one because I could have ended my football career a year or two before it did, and I wouldn't have had all the other stories of playing my last year in 2015 or getting my name spelled wrong by the Riders. So thankfully, that one didn't come back to bite me, but. Definitely a good story. Sheldon, where do you want to go now? CFL?
Real quick. Let's CFL, another good week, competitive week. There's games we could talk about, but I think the real story right now is going into next week. We're finally seeing it. The Stamps are at their best. The Riders look unstoppable. And Regina's coming to Calgary. I think it's next Saturday. For the battle of the first place. It's not a battle for first place. Riders clearly have control, but the Stamps are looking good.
But it is, well, it's not a battle for first place, but it's a 4 point. It's a 6 point swing on this, right? If the Riders win, they advance 2 points. So if the Riders win, they go to 18 points, and the Stamps stay at 12. If the Stamps win, they get to 14 points, and then it's only a 2 point difference. So it's a big difference in the standings, but more importantly, it's the season series is on the line because the Stamps won the last one in Regina. So I'm really looking forward to this. In fact, I'm going to be going to that game. I missed the last one a few weeks ago. I wanted to get to against Winnipeg, but I will be at this game. And I'm telling you what, Sheldon, it is nice. I always say, Trey's always like, hooting and hollering for all his wins and stuff. And I always say they don't hand out Super Bowls or football pool victories in August. But man, am I excited to see some meaningful football being played right now. The Stamps have a little making up to do. I mean, they had a string of losses there. They got the 2 to Ottawa and the 1 to Montreal.
All freak games though.
I mean, 2 of those games they were without their starting quarterback. So you one
was in a game that should have never been played in a monsoon.
Yeah, but so I think they're more evenly matched. It looks like the Stampeders got some guys coming back, but even at the point differential in terms of the standings, they are very evenly matched. When you look at the offensive and defensive production, very, very evenly matched. And so, I just think it's really nice to be playing a really meaningful game before Labor Day, because we know Labor Day is like Edmonton's on a roll. They won their last 2. Cody Fajardo. I mean, Trey said it. Flush Trey Ford. We're all in for Cody Fajardo. I mean, he went and beat Toronto. And I know Toronto's reeling, but they're still the defending Grey Cup champs. They're still the same team. Well, maybe not the same team. They got rid of a lot of guys, but they're still the incumbents. And Edmonton took care of them last week. Edmonton took care of them. So for me, this game, the marquee matchup is the Stamps, Saskatchewan. I feel very happy that I'm going to watch the game. And like I said, to have a meaningful game in the summer before it gets cold, that should get people out. It should be a sea of red and a sea of green, and I'm looking forward to it. Are you going to be at the game, Sheldon?
I'm not sure what we're doing. There are a couple things that are going on right now, but if I am in town, I am going to be at that game. And for me, the whole thing is I'm loving the Stampeders defense this year. Yeah. I think Riders have been dominant and have like the top best in class defense in the league right now. But I've seen glimpses of that Stampeders on first down when those boys are stopping the run. If they can stop the run, if they can even slow down Alouettes, make them one-dimensional, and get Harris in the second along, I think they got a chance. But Riders, man, are looking good. But yeah, if I'm in town, that'll be my first game I get to this year.
Yes, and let's give Trey a little bit of pub. First of all, Trey, I'm giving you pub on this and props on this because as Sheldon and I have had to pivot, so too have you, and you've done a great job tonight. I've sent you some last-minute pictures, some last-minute demands. You may not have put up the Lindros picture first, but that's okay. But yes, we'll give you props, Trey, for showing up this week and jumping back on top of the standings. If you want to show it again with your little yellow crown, you were the dominant one of week 11, but week 12 is right around the corner. And I do believe that
I went 4-0 this week.
Yeah, you
know
did.
That
you
means
jumped. We're tied.
I was 4-0 the week before. I was 4-0 this week. Last week I was 3-1, but I didn't get my picks in. I'd be tied with Trey right now. So Trey, good on you. Your discipline, your routine, getting your picks in. But I'm still coming for you, buddy.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a good week. I like doing the, and you know what? I'm going to give Rubio a shout out. Rubio texted me today. He's like, this site sucks. I can't even make my picks. Rubio, you know what? You're dead last for a reason because you're not paying attention. And no, I'm not. You know what? The site sucks. I can't. If we brought the CFL Game Zone site to studs or duds, I couldn't even defend it because at this point we've had so many dropouts because they don't even understand how the website works. And it's not because we're all idiots. Like at some point when everyone's an idiot, you got to look in the mirror and say, maybe I'm the idiot. And the CFL Game Zone site is the idiot, but we're still having fun with it. We're still making picks. Well, except for Sheldon. And we're still going to be rolling with the game. Sheldon, anything else before we head to break? We talked about weird sports injuries. We talked about Rob Evans, our picks. Is there any other game that's, we talked about obviously the marquee matchup. Is there another one there that kind of turns your crank or everything else is?
For me, the only other one, let's see if they're even playing this week. It'd be, I'm intrigued by just how bad the Bombers are going to be and how the Lions are going to be playing. Now, okay, I'll take that back. Edmonton is going into Ottawa versus the Red Blacks. Are the Red Blacks are they for real? Are they coming around? Or is Edmonton ready to make the push? I got a feeling it's going to be Edmonton. But my only other question is looking at the Lions. Oh, it just went down on me. Is Rourke the real deal? Is he coming around? He's looking better every week. The CFL needs stars at quarterback, and I really want to see Nathan Rourke just take it to the next level, and I think we're about to see that.
Well, I know the one star. I talked about him today. The one star that's back, and I know he's not playing this week, but I say it every week. But Bo Levi Mitchell, I was looking at the comparison of the Riders and the Stamps in terms of offense and defense. Like the BC Lions, Nathan Rourke has 273 yards for. That's 273 points for. The Hamilton Tiger Cats have 300. Like by far and away more points than anyone else. That's pretty. Now their points against is a little high, but just Bo Levi Mitchell is the real deal.
And the turnovers though.
Yeah. And I love a great redemption story. So I'm still praying for Bo Levi Mitchell. I was talking with Rob Cote the other day. That's who I was and I said, he was saying this, what, this was interesting. Rob Cote, great Stampeder alumni. And I'm sure a lot of guys in the locker room feel this. It's going to be tough for them to cheer against Edmonton when they roll into town because they all loved Mark Killam. Like so many guys got their shot to play for the Stampeders because Mark Killam was their special teams coach, the guy who believed in them, that got them on the field and gave them an opportunity. And when he comes into town, it's going to be tough. So we're talking about that. We're talking about Bolivia Mitchell and his redemption story. And that's the neat thing about the CFL. There are so many good storylines each week, in and out, things happening, and it's a fun league, and it's easy to keep on top of because it's only 9-team league. And this week, the game, all eyes are on that Stamps Riders game. So Sheldon, we'll keep it moving along. We're doing a pretty good job, I think, with the pivot. We'll take a quick break. Before we hit the break, we're going to show the socials. We're going to mention, I think, the underlying theme here is that Creed's been playing in the background. I think that's because Trey is going to the concert. I believe that's tomorrow night. So let's take a great break. Maybe Sheldon will be in his chair before the commercials end. And in the meantime, click that like and subscribe on all the socials and pick up the podcast tomorrow on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music.
Performance Freight Management is a global logistic freight shipping company that will handle the entire shipping process for any package to any country. Whether it be a simple truck shipment from your office to Toronto or your company importing generators from China, PFM Freight handles it all. We have the expertise and technology to handle any shipping requirements. Skip the guesswork and let us take the shipping pain off your plate.
Do you want your business to be known? YYCCalgaryBusiness.ca is Calgary's only online media platform that gets you noticed. Short-form video content is rapidly taking over as the most effective way to engage your audience. Whether you're being interviewed on a vodcast, sharing a sizzle reel, or even hosting your own show, there is one place you can publicize your business. We want to tell your story and introduce you to our network of empowered business owners and leaders right here in Calgary. Isn't it time you took your digital game to 11? Call us or email us now.
Welcome back to the ride again. I'm Chevy, joined by Nasty. Here he comes. Sheldon, that's a fine. That is a fine. Every time you do that to me, that's got to be a fine.
I swear, Trey's got those commercials on 1.2.
Yeah, I think that's a fine. Here we go. I like this song, whatever this is.
I think this is it.
Yeah, this is a circus.
That's it.
Well,
the circus that is the ride tonight, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's a circus sometimes, but you know what? It rides on, and people show up, and it goes. And we're brought to you each week. Let's give the sponsors some love. Performance Freight Management. They've been riding along with us, and if you need something shipped or you need a problem solved that involves logistics or freight, you call Daryl at Performance Freight Management. He's going to get you hooked up. You need some balls shipped to Vegas for Rubio long snapping camp, and someone dropped the ball. Call Daryl. He'll get those balls to you. He'll get you your balls. You need baseballs down in Tampa because or you need a Speedo in Tampa because you're Bruno and you forgot it in Calgary. Call Daryl. He'll ship you your Speedo. But moving on from that, We Drone Real Estate Media. That's Sheldon. You were doing some nice photography tonight that you shared with us in the picture. I guess Twilight pictures are the best.
Yeah,
and it's getting darker earlier, so that's good. You can have more time to prepare for the show.
Yeah. You still gotta drag yourself out of the house at 9 o'clock or whatever. 8:45, I think, is when we started shooting. But I love those twilight shots. Anybody that's been looking at houses these days on the market, you see those beautiful twilight shots where you can see right into the chandeliers and almost see the silverware on the dining room table. Those are probably my favorite creative shoots to do. But I had something else today that came up, and in fact, I think my rant is going to become a stud or dud. And
okay,
so Trey, when you're ready, Trey, if you want to cue that up, stud or dud.
Studs and duds.
So there's
Let's hit
nothing more important in our life than insurance, right? You've got to insure your car, you've got your liability insurance in case something goes wrong. You've got EI insurance in case you get hurt on the job, all kinds of different things. Well, I remember, house insurance is another one that's very important. You can't get a mortgage without it. But I remember there used to be a day and time where when you had insurance for your house, if something happened, insurance would pay it off. There were calculations. You pay this much as a conglomerate across the country or whatever, and there's enough to pay off people's damages. Well, last year, if you remember, on my birthday, Chev, I was camping and we had to come home early because there was a hailstorm. First time ever in Evanston that there's any damage, and it broke one of my windows and put holes and it destroyed my shingles and all this stuff. Well, you know what? For the past 20 years in this house, because I got in 2005, I've been paying, I think, what is it? As of 2024, I was paying $263 a month for insurance. It's getting a little more
reasonable,
pricey.
but it's reasonable for
getting a little bit more pricey. We got our renewal notice today, $550 per month. It more than doubled.
Whoa!
It more than doubled. And I'm doing the math on this thing. If I paid $40,000 or $50,000 insurance over the last 20 years, I expect to be insured for $40,000 or $50,000.
Yeah,
we had a $30,000 claim, and they paid about half of it, and we're paying the other half.
Wow. And it's still doubled.
And they're still doubling our claim. And for me, Chev, that got me a little bit pissed off because I worked in the math on it. I more than paid off the entire claim. And sure, okay, you depreciate my shingles. So now I've got brand new shingles, brand new siding, brand new windows. Why am I paying double? It makes no sense to me. And we've got everything with this company. I won't name the company. I'm going to give them one chance for redemption, but they've got our cars, they've got our trailer, they've got liability, they've got our house. They got they had everything.
So this is I'm going to shop around now, right? Like, and
100%.
Because it's negotiable because I had a few car accidents, right, that affected my insurance premium. And when I went to get a new car, like there were some things at play that I had to really be tactical about in order to get my insurance where it needed to be. But everyone was telling me you could shop around. And I think that's one of those things where the renewal notice comes. It's like a mortgage, right? Your mortgage renewal comes, your bank sends you a piece of paper and says, you know what, here's your renewal notice, here's your rate, and it's right there, just sign it, and it's easy. And I think this is a case where, just like a mortgage, if you got to go change banks, it becomes hard, right? You got to do some homework. You got to go dig up some papers, get a job letter, do all this stuff. But sometimes the payoff is worth it. So have you done any initial work on this, or is this just like right now?
It just came in. It just came in. I was fuming today when I found out. So,
but that's not right. I mean, but you got to think this with all the claims and the hail damage that's been done in Calgary.
In my neighborhood, this is once. In this part of the Northwest, this was the first time we've never had a hail claim. I've never had a claim on my house in 20 years.
But Calgary in general, you look at what happened in the Northeast a few years ago, there's still people waiting for repairs. Problem up there, and in many places, people are taking their insurance check and they're not making the repairs, and they're leaving their house in a state of disrepair, which that's another sad state of affairs and where we are. But you think about the wildfires in LA last year. All those homes that will no longer be insured and all those people that were refused insurance because of the wildfires. It just seems like something's going on, with Mother Nature, and we are no longer able to keep up. And, with the hail damage stuff, I know it only happened to you like first time in 20 years, but it's been a common thing in Calgary. Someone has to step up and take responsibility for the building practices that they've allowed. Whether it's the cheap vinyl siding or the cheap roof, like something's got to give there, because
but now we're getting a battle of affordability too. Like, I know what you're saying, and trust me, I would love nothing more than to go with a metal roof and titanium armored siding, but that comes at a price.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Really
you agree.
And something's got to be done, but it's going to come at as an expense. That, and these things too. I'm a farm kid from way back. I know how hail works. It cycles. Yeah. Like even for us, a lot of this stuff stayed in that little ridge between North Calgary and Airdrie. Like we used to watch those storms all the time pass through Balzac. And now they're starting to, it's just like shifting with the, with what do they call it? The jet stream, right?
Yeah,
It's
they're
not going to be this
pushing
way
it.
forever. Within a couple of years, we're not going to see bad hail again for another 20 years. That's
Oh.
just the way it goes. But
See, I don't know enough about the prairie sort of cycles throughout the years. You would know more, but yeah, it is pretty devastating when you watch it. So, Sheldon, what are we calling the stud or dud? Is it the insurance companies? Is it the hail, or is it just
it's the insurance companies. An absolute dud. Work at the Mac on it, folks. You're paying double what you're getting back over the course of your house. I mean, I would have been better off just to throw a couple grand a year into a little side account and self-insured. I'd be way further ahead, unless of course my house burned down. Then I'm pretty thankful for the insurance,
especially in the first couple of years. Yeah, I know that sucks. Well, you know what? I'm going to move on. Keeping with the theme of studs and duds, and keeping with the theme of the show, I believe there's a Creed concert in town tomorrow at the Scotiabank Sandal Dome. And I believe that Trey is going to this concert, and it's a pretty good lineup. If you like, pretty big lineup there. Creed, Three Doors Down, Daughtry, Big Wreck. I like Big Wreck. Big Wreck's Canadian band, and I don't know Mammoth, but Sheldon, you know, Creed has been many things to many people. To you, is Creed a stud or a dud of a rock band?
You know, that's a hard. It's not. It is an easy one, but I know we've got a couple of Creed fans in the group. For me, they were kind of a dud.
Okay,
like the
why?
bubble gum of rock. At that time, I was listening to. I was big into the grunge scene, and I was leaning on the heavier side. I like my Nine Inch Nails. I like kind of the heavier side of music. It was kind of bubblegum rock. But I'm not a hater of Creed, though. Don't get me wrong. When that song came on, when I was driving my car in Ames, Iowa, and name any one of those songs.
Arms Wide Open,
My Sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be bobbing my head in my little red Mustang that I had at Iowa State. But I wouldn't go back to my room and put it on my headphones and listen to it. Do you know what I mean? Is that fair?
Yeah.
I like those.
You know what? Higher was definitely on my game day playlist. It was one of the songs on my game day playlist. It got me up for a game. But you know, I think they took a lot of heat for a while. Were they the American version of Nickelback? Because again, I like Creed. They're not my favorite rock band, but when they come on, I'm not like, turn this off. But when you think about Nickelback, I like Nickelback, but so polarizing.
Yeah.
Are they the American Nickelback? Like, is that the redheaded stepchild of American rock bands?
I think that's a great analogy, because like for me, I tried to hate Nickelback for a while when it became the popular thing to do, but I couldn't. Chad Kroeger and the boys, they brought it. And yeah, some of their songs, some of their lyrics were dumb, but you know what? A lot of them were really good.
Yeah.
And so I'd say I was more of a Nickelback guy than Creed.
Look at this photograph.
I listened to him one time tell the story about how he wrote that song, and it kind of wrote itself. And it's a good song. It's a little simplistic maybe, but great.
Okay, so Creed.
Tell me that comes. They can't. Yeah. So Creed.
Creed, stud or dud?
Dud.
I'm a stud. And I'm going to keep this with musicians and music. We're going to move on to the next one. Last week we talked about it, and we kind of glanced over it, and it kind of set the tempo for the show about how people distribute and consume content. And we use sort of Taylor Swift, what we knew about Taylor Swift going on to the New Heights podcast with Jason and Travis Kelce. And this had been the first time she's ever been on a podcast, as famous and popular as she is, and how big podcasts are now. You talk about Joe Rogan and some of these other huge podcasts. You'd think that would have been part of sort of the junket that they do when they're on tour or releasing an album. But she chose for the first ever podcast that she's been on to go on the New Heights podcast. Now, when I thought about it, I was like, this is a great move for these guys. Get Taylor Swift on their show. It's like if we got Taylor Swift on our show, we'd have millions of Swifties listening to our show just to hear what she said. And the podcast itself was amazing. Like, I have to say, I didn't know what to expect. I was never against the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce thing. In fact, I thought it was great. It was great fodder for show material. It was great. It got eyeballs on the NFL. I was never in the she ruined the NFL camp, right? So I was kind of supportive of it, but I wasn't looking for any big substance out of this. What I got out of it was, first of all, this girl is a genius. Like, you hear her talk, she's like a higher level type IQ. Like
Yeah.
she speaks like she is she is super intelligent. Like it was like basically Taylor Swift with two clowns, but the clowns really guided the show, especially Jason Kelsey. He did a fantastic job. I think Travis Kelsey was just giggling in the background, but you get the sense that she is a special human being. She's not just someone that sings. She's not just someone that writes music, but her package is unbelievable. You respect really the work ethic. Like if you're a fan of sports and what it takes to make the NFL and what it takes to be on every time, and you start listening to how she talks, you're like, holy crap. She's like the NFL of performers. And what I thought was a great move by those guys to get her on her show to boost up her show, guess what it wound up being?
Yeah.
A situation where I'm like,
okay, well, tell me, are you downloading the album when it comes out?
I don't know if I can download the album, but I'm looking at it differently.
I'm gonna be listening to it. Like I'm not saying I'm gonna go there and just like rock out to it all night long, but I'm now curious.
But I gotta imagine
so big.
But I gotta imagine that of all the listeners that those guys have, and you know, we're a small sausage party compared to them. They're a big sausage party. There's gonna be a lot of people saying, "Whoa, I respect this chick. I want to listen to her because she is smart. She's intelligent."
That's what's so smart about it.
Yeah.
So the Swiftie verse is going to grow on its own just naturally. I mean, there's Swifties being born every day. But I mean, the same thing with her coming to the NFL brought new eyes to the NFL. Okay, they're not diehard fans, but they are buying jerseys.
Yep.
Right, and they are watching. That is advertising revenue for the NFL for the NFL and the teams. Well, it's the same thing here. Every download, every listen is building that empire, and to bridge that gap is just being able to bridge. You said there are a couple of clowns. Like I've watched it. I've watched their show. I haven't watched it for a while, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's a ride. I don't know how a pop star like Taylor Swift can come in and handle herself, but it sounds to me like she can handle herself just fine in front of any audience.
And it was so authentic because you could tell there's a genuine love and respect between her and Travis. That's really cool. But even how she relates to Jason, like she is family, they're family. It was literally like watching a family, and it was cool because you get to see another side of a megastar that you don't normally see. Like she never talks about her relationship, and it was super cool to see that. But also, like when you start listening to the type of artist she is, she's all about the Easter eggs. She's all about planting things, and then her fans going back and, oh, look, she said that there, even to announce this tour, which is kind of like, again, I mentioned it last week. It's her orange era. Everything's related to a color. When she did her last performance, she walked through an orange door. And people are like, oh, what does that mean? And that became the setting for the next. And she's very into numerology. Like if you listen to this podcast, super interesting. But one of the things that's been making the rounds on social media is that through this podcast, she delivered a secret Easter egg because she was talking about her fascination with sourdough. And she mentioned she's very much into numerology. And she mentioned, I believe is it 47 or 49? Anyhow, somehow the number, I believe it's 47 or 49, which is the next Super Bowl, whatever number it is, made its way into the podcast. And people are starting to think that that was her dropping a hint about her creating her Super Bowl halftime show, because the 49th, I believe, Super Bowl is in Santa Clara, which is California, where the 49ers play. And their mascot is Sourdough Sam or something like that. Yeah. So she was talking about her obsession with sourdough and making sourdough now that she's done her So, you know, it was literally this talk about sourdough, and but then after everyone's like, holy crap. Did she just, and if you're any sort of person that enjoys like the underneath layer, like I said last week, the way I love the Marvel stuff and the way people trip out about different little sports trades and stuff, man, if you like that stuff, you got to be like, oh shoot, did she just, you know? And so I thought it was genius. For me, her appearing on that podcast was a stud move on their part to have her. It was an absolute stud move on her part because she made herself relatable. What she did was make every dude say, man, I wish my girlfriend liked sports the way she did. Because she even painted the picture how she knew nothing about football. And her dad was a good friend of Andy Reid's. And she got to the point where now she's talking about coverages with Travis Kelsey. And she's learning and she's understanding. And she's talking like she called him up on the day of the draft, that they drafted Xavier Worthy, and Travis Kelce's like, I don't even know who this guy is. And she had all like, she's in.
Yeah.
And it's cool to watch because he's all in on her career and she's all in on his.
Let me ask you this. Okay. So stud or dud? Stud. Taylor Swift as next year's halftime show. Stud or dud?
Stud.
I agree. Now for
me?
me, now I'm starting to think in my mind. Now she's so big she doesn't have to bring anybody up, but Prince did it, or at least use some covers. If there was one band that you would like to see her pull up and do a number with at the halftime show, who would it be?
Probably Creed.
You know who I was going to say?
No, not Creed.
Metallica.
Oh.
Metallica. I would love to see a crossover. I've seen Miley crossover with Metallica before, and it worked.
Yes.
I think they're at the stage in their career where they could headline that show too, but they're getting a little bit old. I would love to see her come in and bring somebody, like you get a lot of rap stars and other pop and R&B and stuff like that. I would like to see somebody like Taylor Swift come over the top with somebody you wouldn't expect.
But I tell you what, she's like when you start hearing about all this stuff, and again, watch this podcast, you're gonna be blown away because you love music and you're an artist as well. The absolute genius in her artistry, she can only perform with someone that can match her genius, because otherwise it won't work. If it's someone that's just showing up to sing music, it's not going to work. It's going to be big. It's going to be fantastic. And if she pulls in a band to work with her, it's going to be cool. It's going to be super cool. Oh, I got someone in my podcast background. Hey, how's it going, Luke? Yeah, see, my son's joining because it's late, you know. So Sheldon, where do we go with that? I mean,
I think speaking of late, I don't know. Is that a good one to end on? Anything else you got? Any final thoughts you want to throw out there?
I think that is. Hey, just walking by the podcast. How's it going? Make an appearance. No, I think I'm good. You know, like football season's up and going. Very excited that the 2025 Mavericks are going to take the field this week. So I'm coaching again, and that's been taking up a lot of my time. So I'm enjoying that. You know, the reno is it is complete. Now the cleanup is going well. So life is starting to normalize for me. It's going to be busy, but that's how it is in the fall. Hockey, football, all that stuff. But I'm excited that we were able to pivot. We're going to try and get Dan on another time, just like we're going to try and get Jesse Lumsden on another time too. We just haven't really reached out, but he's game to come whenever. We just figured let's time it when there's something relevant we want to talk about. But yeah, it's great that we could do this. It's great that we can come out and talk each week about sports, about life, and the things that we enjoy. And yeah, it's great that we get to do it together. So I'm happy. We had a good show. You, Sheldon?
Good show, Chev. Yeah, good show. And I'm looking forward to next week, number 89. And we're going to see here on a fair game, Saskatchewan versus Calgary. Hopefully no weird stuff this time. I'm actually really excited, probably more excited than I've been in a regular season CFL game in a couple of years. So guys, on that note, let's go out with some Creed. Take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you guys all back here next week on The Ride.